Now, facing a teacher strike that threatens to shut down Kentucky schools over pensions, legislatures have taken to action. So what have they decided to do in Kentucky? They've decided to cut taxes for the rich. I'm not kidding. According to the Washington Post, the Kentucky legislature passed a sweeping tax overhaul this week, and now lawmakers are asking Governor Matt Bevin to sign a bill that would slash taxes for some corporations and wealthy individuals. Well, that, of course, is par for the course when you're dealing with Republicans. Oh, let's just cut taxes. Let's cut taxes for rich people. This is all while teachers are saying we need to get paid more. By the way, we don't get paid enough. Our schools are falling apart. And by the way, like, you're messing with our pensions, our retirement. Maybe you should fund that. No. Instead, we're going to cut taxes for corporations and the rich. However, Kentucky's like, well, we're not going to fall in the trap of Kansas. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to raise taxes on the poor. 95% of state residents under this bill will face a tax hike. A hike. Now, the bill, according to the Post, flew through the legislature on short notice, and thousands of teachers had went to the state capitol building earlier to protest cuts to their pension. Now, the plan would flatten Kentucky's corporate and personal income tax rates, setting both at 5%. Now, right now, the corporate rate runs between 4 and 6%, while its income tax rate ranges from 2 to 6. The new flat rate of 5% for everyone means that small companies and Kentuckians with below average incomes will face tax hikes, and higher earners will get tax cuts. So, look, flat tax, right? That's the big libertarian Republican plan. Let's get a flat tax. Let's get a flat tax. Well, you know why they love the flat tax? It's because it cuts corporate taxes and taxes on rich people. It is a regressive tax, meaning poor people in the middle class end up paying more in taxes. So, now, of course, the bill, they say, would attempt to make up for tax cuts on the rich by nearly doubling the cigarette tax and imposing sales taxes on 17 additional services. That includes things like landscaping, janitorial work, golf courses, and pet grooming. Look, man, as I said, a lot of these taxes that they're raising, yes, some of them don't really apply to poor people. Well, poor people go golfing. I mean, maybe some do. I don't know. But others will impact people who are poor. That's why it is regressive. Now, the plan also would give an average of $7,000 cut to the richest 1% of Kentuckians, who's averaged more than $1 million of annual income. This is according to a report released Wednesday by the nonpartisan Kentucky Center for Economic Policy. But 95% of the state's taxpayers would see a big tax increase. Those earning between $55,000 and $92,000 a year would face the largest tax increase, about $213 per year. Meanwhile, somebody earning $8 million a year would receive a tax cut of close to $80,000 a year, according to Jason Bailey, executive director of the Center for Economic Policy in Kentucky. Now, Bailey also says as a share of their income, the poorest Kentucky residents would face the biggest tax hikes, in part because of the increase in the cigarette tax. Now, Richard C. Auxier, an analyst at the Tax Policy Center, also said Republican governors want to cut or eliminate corporate taxes, and they face a choice. Do you shift the burden to low-income Americans with a sales tax, or do you blow a hole in your budget? Kentucky is opting for the first approach. So that is their rationale. Hey, man, look, we don't want to end up being fiscally insolvent. I mean, look at what happened to Kansas. Brownback completely blew a hole in the budget. They couldn't fund education at levels, and they had to sign some tax increases. Oh my God, how terrible! We got to sign tax increases. We don't want to do that here. We want to cut taxes, mainly for the rich and for corporations. In fact, exclusively for the rich and corporations. And we're just going to make everybody else pay for it. Well, you know what they call that? They call that wealth redistribution. No. Oh my God. No, that's only when you take money from the rich and give it to the poor. Well, you're doing the opposite. You're taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich. That is also income redistribution. And this time you're taking it from 95% of the people in the states in order to feed these corporations. Now, of course, there are problems with this, other than the obvious, what I just pointed out. Experts say that this will likely not raise enough revenue. And of course, whenever you have gigantic tax cuts for rich people and corporations, that never seems to grow the economy. Gee, I wonder why. And look, if you increase taxes on a majority of the people in the state, guess what? Those people will have less money to spend. Well, you're going to have more job losses. Why? It's because consumer spending drives that economy. Wealthy corporations do not drive the economy. Consumer spending drives the economy. You help the rich, it ain't going to trickle down. And this is all, of course, while these teachers are trying to make sure that they have at least a retirement, to make sure that they can get paid enough to not work 2 or 3 jobs to survive, and actually be able to afford school supplies for their students, to make sure that they don't have textbooks that are half destroyed and desks that are falling apart, or schools that are falling apart, or have mold or problems or heating problems, etc., right? They are just destroying that. But as usual, Republicans continue to show that they are for the rich at the expense of everybody else. It's just another example of that. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.